Just you have snowshoes.
Oh, you mean snowshoes would be good for this?
I think so. Holy cows, puppies! Wow. Somebody had a lot of work today.
Hola Farmsteaders!
Hola,
We are Mac.
and Jose.
Welcome back to Upper Country Farms.
Yep.
We are a beautiful, freezing farm up here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Today, Jose, we want to talk a little bit about buying property.
Where? In the snow?
Here. Well, here's the thing. We get a lot of people contacting us on social media because they're saying they're moving to the UP and they want to know where they should buy.
Yeah.
But I think if you want to be a farmer or a homesteader or a farmsteader, you really need to think about a lot of things when you're purchasing property.
Yep.
It's not just about the property.
No.
I mean, that's part of it, of course, but there's other things to consider when purchasing property. It is so bright out here.
It is.
My eyes are killing me. I should have sunglasses on.
You say no.
It's bright, but freezing cold.
It's not too bad.
Okay, so that's what we want to talk about today. The 7 things you should be thinking about when purchasing property for farming or farmsteading.
Yep.
All right, Jose. So when looking at land for you, what is probably the #1 thing to consider?
What is the property?
Where is it located? Because
Yeah.
we're talking like the USDA zones for where your property is located.
Yep.
We are zone 5A up here.
What do you mean?
Well, what I mean is, I don't know, but I get on YouTube and I see the other farmers that are planting already, that are going to farmers markets,
Oh.
and we still have,
The white team?
yeah, we're not going to be planting for a while here. We are still 3 months away, I think 13 and a half weeks away from our average last frost date, which is the last week of May,
Yeah.
like the 29th of May. We are still 3 months away from our first farmer's market getting started.
Yep.
So if you want to be a farmer, that is something you really need to think about.
The weather.
Yeah, we have 4 months of possible growing up here, and they say it's more like 3 months because it just doesn't get warm up here
Yeah,
like
no.
in other places. So you have to really think about, obviously with season extenders and stuff, we can extend our season a little bit, but you have 6 months to make money up here.
Wow.
To
Very
make-
short.
To make your living for a year. Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It's very short. So I think it's very important that you're considering whether or not this is something you want. If you want to be cooped up in your house 6 months out of the year, like you have to start liking snowmobiling and skiing and snowshoeing and shoveling because that's the life up here.
It is. It's beautiful here.
We love it. When it is snowing, it's incredible up
Yeah.
here. And the fall and the spring.
All season is beautiful.
Yeah, but you just have to decide, is this kind of the weather you want to deal with?
Yeah.
Do you want to be able to grow more of the year? Then this is not the spot for you.
No.
Okay, Jose, so numbers 2 and 3 really are fundamental,
Okay.
like things you need to think about. Number 2 is soil.
Mm-hmm.
Like what kind of soil will you have on that property? And what will the growing conditions be? Because just a few miles down the road that way is pure swampland.
A lot of water.
Yes, you're not gonna, we have swampland on this corner. We have swampland on this corner of our property. We can't grow there.
No.
We might be able to raise some ducks.
Yeah, maybe a little pig.
Some pigs might like it. And Jose, what were you saying earlier we could maybe start farming?
Oh, cocktail.
Cattails. We definitely, on this corner, we could farm cattails. Is there anybody out there purchasing cattails? Give us a ring. But yeah, if you go a few miles in this direction, it's sand.
Yeah.
We live between two of the Great Lakes.
Very weird song here.
Yeah, it is. And so like you can see the trees change when you move from soil that you can grow in to sand. The trees change almost immediately because certain trees can grow in that area and certain trees just can't.
Yeah.
The other thing is access to water. That's number 3.
Very important.
Yeah, because things don't grow without water.
No, not.
Jose and I were living in Las Vegas when we first met.
Yep.
And that's desert. Very deserty. When I first started growing, I was living in the high desert in Colorado. And, you know, you don't think about it, but we had to use shade cloth all the time because it would get so hot and so dry. You needed to protect your greens. If you didn't, they would lay down literally flat on the ground in the afternoon because there wasn't enough moisture in the plant and the sun would just suck it all out. So you really had to do a lot of heat mitigation and water saving techniques growing there.
Wow.
Up here, we don't have to worry too much about water.
No.
As a matter of fact, we probably have too much.
Yeah, it's not too much hot here.
Yeah.
It's a little bit hot.
Not too bad.
Not too bad, yeah.
Okay, so then the fourth thing is how rural do you want to be?
Yep.
The more rural you are, the more difficult it is going to be to get your product to the city or where it can sell. Maybe you're close enough that people will actually come out to your farm and pick stuff up. We're going to start offering that to people, so we'll see if people will drive the 30 minutes to get here to do some shopping. But there's a lot of benefits to being rural. Obviously, property's probably going to be a little bit cheaper. You're going to be able to probably get larger pieces of property the more rural you are. But the closer to the city, your benefits are going to be your customer base will be a lot bigger.
Yep.
Jose and I chose this location partially because it's great farmland. But the other thing is we are within 30 minutes or 45 minutes of several small towns. Now, there are no big towns up here. I think 30,000 is our biggest, and that is not very big. But we are within 30 minutes of some of the bigger towns up here. So we do have some outlets for customers.
Yep.
And we're also nice and rural.
It is beautiful here.
Yeah, we don't have to hear the traffic like we did in Vegas all the time.
No.
All right, so that was number 4. Number 5, Jose, I was a realtor in Las Vegas, so this one is really important to me.
Okay.
And I think if you're buying a farm and thinking of farmsteading, you really want to think through number 5 before you purchase property, and that is how much money you're going to be spending.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason for that is the more money you spend, the more difficult it's going to be for you to get started, I believe, because you have a lot more constraints on you.
Yep.
So Jose and I were originally looking in Hawaii. We had actually packed up and moved to the island of Maui right before COVID hit.
Yeah.
Literally, we sold our home in Vegas just as COVID hit. So we got to Hawaii and there were no tourists for 6 months. We were there for 6 months. There were no tourists allowed on the island.
Vacation.
Yes. We could not travel from island to island to look at property.
No.
It was a struggle.
Yep.
And after 6 months of being there, we made the decision to move up here just because COVID made me rethink some things about who we want to be close to and what we want to be doing for ourselves here. But in Hawaii, we were looking at a couple different pieces of properties were our favorite.
Yep.
One was 7 acres of raw land in the middle of the rainforest, $350,000 is what we were looking at for price.
In the middle of the jungle?
In the middle of the jungle. There was no house. There was no barn. We would have had to clear all the trees.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
But we would have been spending a lot of money. And we were 3 hours from the nearest town. So getting our stuff to town would have been a workout every week.
Yeah.
So yes, Hawaii is beautiful and we would have been able to grow year round, sell year round, and do a lot of different things, but we would have been strapped.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have made life more difficult. So looking at property here, there was property well in our budget that gave us the opportunity to still have cash left over to do things like the infrastructure.
Yep.
We are not having to panic or worry about whether or not we're going to make a mortgage payment.
Nope.
So don't let your brain get bigger than your wallet.
Yeah. I
Don't,
know.
yes, don't purchase more than you can afford, because life gets a lot more difficult, especially if you are wanting to homestead.
Yep.
And, be just a small scale farmer. You don't want to have to try to make $150,000 a year. You just want to make enough to survive on. I think that's probably the most important. For me,
Yeah.
number 5 is the thing I think you should consider the most of all, is what is going to be easily in your budget, rather than strapping yourself every month and being stressed out about whether or not you can make your payments.
Yep.
So consider that.
Thank you for that.
Number 6, Jose, is to think about the community you're moving into.
Oh yeah, we have a very good community here.
Yeah, it is. The community is so welcoming up here. When we were in Hawaii, we didn't have family there.
No.
And we didn't have a lot of friends there. It would have been starting from scratch on building community, building
Yeah.
friendships. And Hawaii tends to be a little more closed off to the newbies than some other areas. And I mean, that's not the case everywhere, but it does tend to be that way.
Yeah.
Here, though, everybody's like, hey, welcome. Yeah, exactly. Your neighbors are waving when they drive by.
Yeah.
Every single neighbor stopped by and met us when we first bought the property. It was
Yeah.
like a revolving door around here of neighbors, which is great. We love that.
Good neighbors.
All right, Jose, the last thing, number 7. And I think this is very important, is where do you want to be?
It's very important. Okay.
It is very important. All this other stuff, I mean, you have to think about, but again, if you buy property up here and you hate the cold, you're gonna probably be miserable in the middle of winter. Jose and I really had to look for things to do. Are you gonna be happier closer to family or further away from family? Do you want to be close to a city, far away from a city? Do you want to be, I don't know, near the ocean, near lakes,
Yeah.
where you can go fishing a lot? Like, think about where you will be happy, because once you buy a farm, you can't just pick up and move that farm.
No.
No. When we were purchasing, there was another farmer, they had just had a baby, and they were actually moving out because they wanted to be closer to family, which makes a lot of sense. But you can't pick up that land you just spent 5 years, correcting the soil. You can't take that with you.
No.
You can't take your fruit trees. Well,
No.
I mean, I suppose you could, but it's hard to take your fruit trees. All the infrastructure you've built, all of the relationships you've built.
Yeah. Many things.
Yeah. So you really want to take the time and get serious about where it is you want to be. Where are you going to be happy? Because starting a farm means you're taking on a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can't just pick up and move.
No.
Well, you can, but you can't take the farm with you. All right, Jose, anything else today?
Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any idea for next videos,
Yeah, we love getting ideas from you guys about videos you'd like to see. The next video we do have coming out is going to be a really neat video, because everybody's been asking us which farmers market we made more money at. We were at 2 very different farmers markets. So we're going to talk about some of the things to consider when picking a farmers market and what might control how much money you make.
yep,
Yeah, so we'll share with you our experience.
should be the next video.
Yeah. So if you are a small farmer and you're just getting started or thinking about getting started, we hope you'll subscribe to our channel. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video or found it useful. Again, we are Mac.
And Jose,
We are Upper Country Farms.
thank you.
Thanks for watching.
Okay, it's hot. It's hot.
Wow, it is cold. Okay. You might want to zip up your jacket, Jose.